Hi people, it's me again, Marino Ravenberg as always. Long story short, as the header of this video already suggests, I'm going to talk about the continuation of a project that I started a couple of years ago, roughly estimated 2 to 3 years ago, and it involves treasure hunting, long story short. I'm going to read from the draft version of an article, the article whose link you can find in the description below. And I would advise you to go through everything in the article, so that includes all the links that you can find in said article. But in any case, I haven't published it yet. Of course, this video needs to be embedded in the article first, then I can publish it. But I'm going to read from my draft version, or from the draft version of this of the mentioned article. Apologies. It's pretty much self-explanatory, that's why. So hence me reading. In any case, let's begin. The header, continuing the treasure hunt. In March 2019, I wrote an article about an angel I work with for treasure hunting called Alexander. That, long story short, was a bust somewhat. See that article if you haven't read it already. Refer back to, simply click on the link if you're unaware of this, and you can read the very first article. Long story short, I work with an angel, like my article says, called Alexander, a Jupiterian angel that specializes in treasure hunting and whatnot. And you can read the outcome of that in said article and watch the video that I published that couple of years ago. Me being much stronger than I was back then, skill as well as knowledge-wise, combined with newfound skill in astrology thanks to Archangel Uriel, see the tattoo, etc. I wanted to put what I learned into action by combining Alexander's knowledge with astrology. I have a tattoo of the Archangel Uriel seal. Uriel he rules over the earth in a different way than Sandalphon does. My beloved Vice Patron, Vice Lord Sandalphon. And Uriel specifically deals with it from a cosmic perspective. So Uriel deals with the cosmos in general, and that's why he rules the earth in that context. And he also deals with astrology, obviously. Astrology falls under that, or it falls within the scope of said cosmic knowledge. In any case, thanks to Uriel's tattoo, my knowledge in astrology grew. If you check out my astrological playlist, agricultural astrology is an example thereof. I learned a bunch of things. I just had an epiphany, and a bunch of knowledge came to light for me in terms of being able to scan, astrologically speaking, an area or a region to know what its properties and its composition is made up of. Like I said, I wanted to put what I had learned into action combined with Alexander's knowledge. Of course, I'm a lot more stronger than I was 2-3 years ago as an occultist, so I keep growing. I'm a grower. So I simply wanted to make use of the knowledge. Otherwise, what good is it, in my opinion? Results below. For point 1, I went to a location in a swamp-like area that had, according to above stated method of working, silver and bingo. I went to my very first location, and it did indeed, as my calculations stated, in conjunction with Alexander's statements, it did indeed possess silver, or it did have silver. Point 2, went to a location that was by far the most dangerous in terms of flora and fauna, but it was the rainforest. So the region is called Broken Ferry. It's very mountainous. I went with 2 others, and in short, one almost stepped on a 1 meter long furtherlands. I was stung by wasps. Both associates were beset by ants, and the vegetation itself is pretty much trying to kill you as well. See here for a pretty important plant that serves as an example. Let it be noted that both this location as well as the location where the plant was recorded, they were 2 different locations, also had spirits present. Miscellaneous forest spirit and a tribal individual that claimed to have lived there in colonial times. The location was supposed to have diamonds and gold, see below. As per this recording, I sent both these samples of stones that I found to laboratories or to labs to have them analyzed. But it is unfortunately unlikely that they are indeed diamond and gold, or diamonds and gold. As far as I know, the white stone that you'll see in the article, it is most likely quartz, And the brown stone, it's possible that it possesses gold, but not enough to be mention worthy. So yeah, as for the second location that I went to, the location in District Broken Ferry, it's in Suriname. It's yeah, it's pretty much already the rainforest, and it's very mountainous. We're talking about you have to climb 50 meters to 100 meters uphill. It's like climbing a mountain at a steep angle, to say the least. We're talking about a 60-degree angle, 70-degree angle. Are you kidding me? This isn't a hill. This is a mountain that you're climbing. Imagine climbing a mountain in the roughest, most naturalist of circumstances. Yeah, it was murderous, honestly. That trip, we went into the jungle at 10:30, roughly estimated, and we came out at 6:30 p.m. We stayed in the jungle for 8 hours, and it literally almost killed us. And I said to the two other people that I was with, my colleagues, if you want to call them that, my accomplices, whatever, I told them this is not the worst thing I've been through in my life, but it immediately made its way into the top 5. I was so exhausted at a certain point that I could not make the trip back. I wanted to, but my body simply said, okay, nope, not going further. And I had to perform not CPR, I had to perform first aid on myself and stabilize my entire body. That took like 5 minutes to 10 minutes before I could continue and before I could actually make the trip back. One of my colleagues stepped on almost a 1 meter long fer-de-lance. A fer-de-lance is one of the most dangerous venomous snakes in the entirety of South America, as well as Middle America, so Central America. Point is that snake, alongside the Bushmaster snake, these two guys are the most dangerous, the most venomous ones. If one of these guys bites you, one of these snakes bite you, then it's all over. Fer-de-lance is French, fer-de-lance. It simply means lancet. In English, it's called the lancet pit viper. Yeah, dangerous. One of the most dangerous pit vipers on earth. So yeah, if that snake bites you, you've got like what? A 20% survival rate. The mortality or fatality rate is 80%. Especially in a location where the nearest medical center is 5 hours away, 3 hours away. Are you kidding me? You're dead before you know it. So he almost stepped on one, because I remember he was walking in front and he was like, I almost stepped on a snake, and I was like, what? Where? He said, it went under that tree log over there, like a 1 meter long, I think it was a fer-de-lance, more you know. I was like, okay, wow, okay, so we really need to be on alert. But yeah, based on the location, we saw everything there, okay? Like my colleagues were beset by ants. I think they walked under a tree that had an ant nest in it, and a bunch of ants fell on them, and they had to take off their entire shirts and wipe the ants off of themselves. I of course took a different route, so that didn't happen to me. I was stung unfortunately by wasps though while going back. Okay, I walked past them, all of a sudden three fucking huge wasps just clamped onto me and started stinging me relentlessly. I was like, what? And yeah, it hurt like hell, but yeah, kept moving. And yeah, the vegetation even is trying to kill you. There's an annoying plant. You can find a link that leads to a video of said plant in the article. You need to click on the word here, of course, and it will redirect you to the video as a link, as a redirectory link, and you'll see what plant I'm referring to. The plant, it looks like it's like a palm tree somewhat, but it has nothing but thorns all over it. And when I say thorns, I mean thorns that make cactus thorns look like nothing. So you can imagine what it comes, if you come across an area and you have to walk through 20 of those guys, it's murderous. I think I had a couple of them literally inject those thorns or stick me those thorns into my body to the point where I had to remove them like this, and I could openly see the blood seeping out of my arms and my limbs, other limbs that were affected. It's just, yeah, that location was murderous. We went 6 kilometers, 3 kilometers around trip, 3 kilometers. 3 kilometers going into the jungle to set point and then coming back. And with the terrain as I described it, are you kidding me? It's like running for 20 kilometers. That's how horrible it was. And yeah, for the rest you saw everything there. Like I said, it was it's the rainforest. And it wasn't even, that's so ironic. It's only 3 kilometers from the main road, which is asphalted. So you can see how easy it is to come into contact with flora and fauna. We saw everything. I saw a screaming piha. That's a bird that makes a sound like wee wee. Yeah, you'll find those birds often here. Okay, they're common in the rainforest. These birds allegedly, the sound that they make is allegedly, I don't know if this is true, but they allegedly make that noise when they see humans, when they see people, to alert the rest of the jungle or the forest that there are humans nearby, or that there are humans within the vicinity. Everything. So I think I saw jaguar paw prints, and I was like, these are fresh. Jaguar walked past here last night. I saw wild hog prints, you name it, everything, literally everything. In any case, that was it for the second location. Yeah, also saw miscellaneous spirits on one or two of these locations that I visited. But you can expect that, as remote and as unexplored as these locations are. The location that I described just now, Broken Ferry, that location where we went, no one has ever been there. No one, not even a hunter, nothing, no one. Because that's how inhospitable it is. Or was. And yeah, anywho, to conclude things, I also inserted a brief video of my metal detector. I did go with everything, purchased all the gear and everything, and I have a metal detector. I still do, even have a backup, so I have two in total. I said I'm gonna buy two in case one breaks. I have a backup, a spare. And yeah, that's the metal detector I use to detect things in the ground. I didn't just go in there and rush in blind. No, I went to the designated location that my map pointed out based on my occult knowledge, and then just to be on the safe side, I scanned the area with my metal detector, and it goes on. Yeah. Unfortunately, so I've decided to call it quits, and the reason why I've decided to do so, I still have 4 locations left that have the highest success rate, but I don't feel like going to these locations, plain and simply due to the fact that it's way too much of an investment. Okay, the sheer amount of money that it costs, or that it would cost, better said, going to set locations. Just to recap, the locations that I've been to, okay, just on foot, okay, without any equipment or heavy machinery whatsoever. No. I went to 4 locations by foot or on foot. Hold on. Yeah, I went to 4 locations on foot. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay. To study that plant, that specific plant that I was referring to earlier. If you count that as the 5th location, then yeah, the 5th location. So all of these locations, transport, equipment, paying the guys I went with because they were the laborers, they did the heavy work and all of that, and I was the brains of the operation, of course. I think I spent like $4,000 on all of this stuff. None of it comes cheap. It's ridiculous how much it costs. Not that I wasn't aware of it already, but it was worth a shot. I have no regrets, as always, or at the very least as usual. And if I wanted to continue and wrap up the remaining 4 locations, of course I'm not going to put my life on the line by venturing into the dangerous rainforest / jungle again, or going into such a hazardous environment. Not that I mind, but it's just not worth it, and it's also impractical to say the least. So if I wanted to go with heavy equipment or heavy machinery like an excavator to break the jungle open and to create a pathway to where I want to go, so to the location that has alleged riches, or the alleged location that has riches, I spoke to the owner of an excavator, or the frontman or manager, whatever. I spoke to a guy that hires or rents out excavators with an operator and everything. Someone that takes care of deforestation as a whole. And I told him exactly what I want to get done, and he told me that it would take 2 weeks just to tunnel 3 kilometers into the jungle from the main road, which I find way too long already. Not even 2 weeks, 2 weeks in a day, 15 days, he said. He says it can take longer even. So this can easily rack up to 3 weeks. This can easily be raked up to 3 weeks or to a month even. It's offensive. And not to mention the sheer amount of money that it's going to cost. For those 2 weeks alone, it would cost $4,500. So $4,500. And I was like, are you kidding me now? Definitely not worth it. So imagine going to 5 of these locations, and for whatever complicated reason, not that there's any literal surefire guarantee. If you were to be absolutely guaranteed, as in God himself guarantees you that you'll find what you're looking for there with the estimated value and all of that, then it's a different matter. But that's not the case, so to speak. So imagine going to 5 of these locations. Going to 5 of these locations, and for whatever complicated reason, things don't work out, blah, 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 blah. You're out how much? 5 times 4,500, 22,000 bucks. That's roughly estimated it, okay? This is just to give you an example. Come on. Yeah, $22,500. Imagine being out $22,500, 22,5K. And you've got nothing with empty hands. So yeah, that's why it's simply not worth the investment. Ironically, this is also the way things went the first time, but I'm a lot better and much more refined and skilled than I was back then. So I've simply decided to call it quits. But of course, I have no regrets as always. It's worth it, as it will always be. Make no mistake, I have no regrets. I'm walking away at this permanently, mind you, with no regrets. And you know, it wasn't about the money, absolutely not. It's not even remotely. This is purely about my occult practice. It's about the principle, nothing other than the principle. Of course, the money is also welcome, of course, that's what you're working so hard for, all of that stuff. But it's about the principle. It's simply about applying an occult technique, and my calculations and everything are correct. It's simply that it's not worth the investment, okay? Not to mention all the dangers and inconveniences that come along with it. It would essentially boil down to spending $1,000 on an item that costs $100. Obviously, that's to be at such a deficit is definitely it defies logic. So absolutely not, okay? For that reason and the fact that I'm simply not motivated anymore. I'm just not motivated anymore to pursue this project. Not that I'm calling it quits, but I'm literally just not motivated anymore to continue to keep going, because it's not worth it. It's not worth the trouble. It's not worth everything. Okay, the amount of energy and investment and all of that is not worth the potential outcome. Okay, if it were a guaranteed outcome, like I said earlier, then it's a different matter. But even then, it would only be worth considering. But without that absolute guarantee, no, 100%, no shadow of a doubt guarantee, no. It's definitely not worth it. No. It's like walking 20 kilometers to the nearest store, or the nearest supermarket, when you're not even sure that the supermarket is open. You assume that they're open, or you assume that they have what you're selling. But imagine going 20 kilometers on foot, 40 in total, going as well as coming back to your house, to only go over there and to hear that your item, or the item that you're looking for, or that you had your sights set on, is out of stock, or something's wrong with it. No. Or it's not even there, they don't sell it, you name it, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that's why I'm calling it quits. But I'm not gonna lie, I still, despite everything I mentioned, all the trials and tribulations, I still really thoroughly enjoyed myself. I love nature, especially due to the heavy set influence of my Vice Lord Sandalphon. I did all of this notably. This entire project was done without them, or specifically without active energy input from them. This was a project that I did solely on my own strength, on my own Cairo power, and my Byzantine power. But yeah, this one unfortunately was also a bust, despite the fact that my calculations and everything is correct. I did discover silver, exactly as I predicted. All the other locations also gave away more or less what my calculations stated, but it's not worth the hassle as a whole. So that's it in any case. I'll hear it if anyone has any questions in the comment section. Bye.